There is a voice inside you, ancient, ageless, often ignored. It whispers not of pleasure, not of comfort, but of destiny. And if you listen closely, it tells you a secret truth most will never dare to accept. You are not here to be entertained. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to drift gently through this life. You are here to become, in the way society flatters itself, in superficial displays of status, or likes or the dead applause of strangers, but in the way Carl Jung mental, to walk the long, excruciating road toward your own soul, to integrate the shadow, to face what is unconscious, to rise above mediocrity not through chance, mains, but through the crucible of inner discipline. Because here is the dark truth. They will never tell you this in school, and no algorithm will ever sell it to you. Freedom is not the absence of rules. Freedom is found inside the fire of self-mastery, and self-mastery is born through discipline. There is no other path. Look around you. A culture obsessed with the next dopamine hit. Scroll, binge, quit. A generation that worships the weekend, fears silence, and calls laziness self-care. They've mistaken comfort for joy. They've confused impulse with authenticity. But the soul does not awaken through indulgence. The soul awakens through structure, intention, and sacrifice. Edison knew this. 10,000 failures weren't failures to him. They were discipline in motion. Henry Ford didn't stumble onto innovation. He showed up before dawn, every day, when no one was watching, while others were laughing or sleeping or doubting. Carnegie didn't rise from a poor immigrant boy to an industrial titan by accident. He studied, worked, and out-disciplined every man in the room. Pattern is eternal. Discipline gives birth to legacy. So if you feel lost, uninspired, aimless, don't reach for distraction. Reach for structure. Remains. If you feel weak, don't chase confidence. Build character. If you feel trapped, don't escape. Commit to the daily act of forging your own freedom. Freedom is not a mood. It is not a phase. It is not given. Moment by moment, decision by decision, when no one is watching, presence remains. Let me ask you a question. Who are you when no one is looking? Because that, right there, is your truth. Presence remains. Are you the man who breaks his word the moment it gets uncomfortable? Are you the woman who abandons her path the minute it gets lonely? Are you the version of yourself that makes excuses, points fingers, and asks, why me? Or are you the warrior who shows up tired? Presence remains. The artist who paints through heartbreak, the builder who lays bricks in the rain, the philosopher who still reflects when the world forgets how to think. Discipline is not for show. It's not a performance. It's a private covenant between you and your future. It is the daily agreement you sign in sweat, silence, and solitude. And here's the paradox. Discipline, though rigid in form, liberates the soul. Jung said, remains. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. He knew what the world denies. The path to transformation is paved with discomfort, not denied by it. He understood that within the rigid boundary of self, restraint lies the potential for transcendence. Because every morning you wake up and choose what matters over what's easy. Every evening you finish the task no one else noticed. Every time you say no to the indulgence that weakens your spirit, you are becoming something. You are becoming someone. Discipline doesn't cage the wild soul. It awakens it. The wild soul that dares to create in a world of consumption. Presence remains. The wild soul that builds when others destroy. The wild soul that sacrifices today for the vision of tomorrow. The wild soul that understands you cannot be free if you are a slave to your impulses. Now hear Meek, your destiny does not care how you feel. It does not wait for motivation. It does not lower itself to meet your excuses. It rises like a mountain, and it demands that you rise to meet it. You don't climb that mountain once, you climb it every day. In the way you breathe, in the way you walk, in the way you choose your thoughts, your habits, your words, veins, in the way you hold your posture when the world tries to bend you. Discipline is not a task, it is an identity. It is the shield against chaos. remains. It is the bridge between the self and the self. It is the silent rebellion against the laziness of the world. Because here's another truth. Most people will never do what you are doing. Most will quit. Most will choose distraction over devotion. Most will never meet their soul. Presence remains. They'll live their whole lives like tourists in their own potential. But you are not most people. You are not here to blend in. You are here to carve your name into eternity with blood, focus, and fire. You are here to wrestle with your limits, to break through the lies you inherited, to become what your ancestors only dreamed of. And none of that happens without discipline, not talent, not luck, not connections. Discipline, the raw, relentless devotion to a future no one else can see but you. The willingness to wake up and work when every voice tells you to quit. The courage to say no to temptations that feel good now, but steal your greatness later. The audacity to build when others mock, to walk alone when others follow, to endure when others crumble. Discipline is the architect of miracles. It is the sculptor that carves a life out of chaos. It is the unseen hand behind every masterpiece, every empire, every resurrection. You want to be free? Then become disciplined. Because when you master your discipline, you no longer fear failure. You pursue it. You no longer fear loneliness. You embrace it. You no longer chase pleasure. You embody purpose. And purpose is the only truly high this world can offer. You see, most people confuse motivation with movement. They wait to feel inspired before they act. They want the stars to align, the mood to strike, the weather to be perfect, the timing to be convenient. But by the time they're ready, life has already passed them by. But not you. You are not a creature of mood. You are a creature of mission. Discipline makes you dangerous in a world addicted to distraction. While others are seduced by every shiny object, you build. While they chase shortcuts, you sweat. While they scream for validation, you walk in silence. Mains. Knowing the only applause that matters comes from the echo of your own integrity. Because here's the brutal truth: life is war, in the sense of violence or rage. But in the quiet war between the self that wants comfort and the self that craves evolution. The part of you that wants to rest, scroll, numb, and the deeper part that was born to rise, to create, to conquer. Every morning, that war begins again, remains. You either command your mind, or you become its prisoner. You either direct your emotions, or they direct you. Presence remains. You either live by design, or you die by default. Jung taught us that. Until you make the unconscious conscious, presence remains. It will direct your life and you will call it fate. Understand what that means. Remains. It means your undisciplined thoughts, your unexamined patterns, your inherited beliefs. They are not fate. They are programs. You can rewrite them. Press it remains. And discipline is the tool. When you practice discipline, you're not just building habits. You are rewiring the unconscious, so remains. You are grabbing the steering wheel of your life with both hands. You are saying, no more autopilot. I will choose who I become. Because no matter what happened in your past, no matter who failed you, no matter what traumas carved scars into your story, the moment you choose discipline, brains, you choose authorship. You stop waiting for healing and start creating it. You stop waiting for someone to save you. And you become the one who refuses to drown. There is no greater freedom than that. Discipline is not a punishment. It is an act of radical self-respect. It says, I am worthy of a future I can be proud of. It says, I will not betray myself in the dark when no one is watching. It says, presence remains. I would rather feel the burn of growth than the numbness of regret. Because regret is the price you pay for choosing comfort over calling, and calling, true calling, demands blood. It demands devotion. Presence remains. It demands that you die to who you were yesterday, so that who you could become has room to rise. Jung knew the psyche cannot grow unless the ego is humble. Presence remains, and discipline humbles the ego. Every time you keep going when it's not convenient, you are training the ego to serve the soul. Presence remains. You are silencing the noise of weakness and giving voice to the sacred warrior within. And let's be honest, this world doesn't need more comfort, needs more warriors. Not warriors of war, but warriors of vision, mains. Warriors who will stand for something when everyone else sells their soul for convenience. Warriors who are unshaken in a storm because they've weathered the storms inside. Warriors who don't just dream, but do, and doing real. Sustained doing is not born from hype. It's born from discipline. When you wake up early to read while others sleep, that's discipline. When you choose water over the poison that numbs you, that's discipline. When you show up at the gym, the studio, the desk, the altar of your dreams, day after day, with no audience, no applause, guarantee, that is discipline. And slowly, quietly, your soul starts to trust you again. Your body starts to rise in strength, remains. Your mind starts to sharpen like a blade forged in fire. And the world begins to shift, not because it changes, but because you changed. Because discipline gives you the one thing the undisciplined will never having inner power. Not loud power, not power that brags, but the quiet remains, immovable kind that bends reality to its will. It's what built the pyramids. It's what wrote the Constitution. It's what painted the Sistine Chapel, sailed uncharted seas, birthed movements, cracked atoms, and launched rockets to the stars. Not luck, not hype. Discipline. The raw, patient, precise act of showing up, again and again and again, until what once felt impossible becomes your new baseline. And here's what they don't tell you. Discipline is contagious. Your strength awakens something in others. Your fire gives them permission to light their own. Your integrity calls their spirit to rise. In a world starving for direction, you become the compass. In a world full of noise, you become the voice. Presence remains, but only if you stay the course. Only if you do the work when it's boring. Only if you keep your word when no one's checking. Presence remains, only if you hold the line when everything in you wants to break. Because that is when freedom is forged. Not when it's easy, when everything in you screams to stop and you whisper backing. No, we go forward. That voice that whisper is the voice of greatness being born. Don't silence it. Don't drown it in excuses or indulgence or fear. Feed it, feel it, follow it. It is the voice of your future self. The one who remembers the pain, the loneliness, trials, but that honors you because you didn't quit. You chose discipline over despair, order over chaos, growth over stagnation, purpose over pleasure. You chose to become